Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tactical Rat Grind. Basically today I really don't have too much time, and actually I started the stream a few minutes ago and realized for some reason it didn't work and I wasn't live. We're just gonna have to deal with 35 minutes of training today because I basically have to bounce very soon and teach at the chess club. So I'll be teaching today, and then in the evening I'll be heading to a party in London. So basically very, very busy, and this is pretty much the only time I have to train. So I was thinking today, like what I should actually train. And I thought actually it might be quite fun to try and do this puzzle survival and see like how far we can get in this 35 minutes. Puzzle Streak, I think it's called, yeah, on Lichess. So we're just gonna do Puzzle Streak, see how far we go. And yeah, I think we gained like a subscriber or two, but yeah, we're still certainly on the 38 minute mark. Okay, so this is Puzzle Streak. Apparently you're able to just save your progress. So I think we're just gonna try and just go straight into it. I'm gonna untick the jump to the next puzzle just in case we want to like discuss. Okay, so this is our starting position. We're masses of material down, but our knight is covering these escape squares, so you know this checkmate looks very enticing, right? So okay, we've got a puzzle streak of 1. In this one, again, the back rank is a serious issue. I think we should take, they will block, and then we'll just simply bring the rook down, and this will be leading to mate. So okay, that looks pretty clear as well. Okay, so now we're down a piece. Again, the king is quite weak. So the question is, what is the best way to exploit this? Okay, and we suddenly see that, okay, white has some pieces that are undefended. This is not a smart idea, and we can do a discovered attack onto the queen. So that's very nice. Okay, and now, again, king safety seems to be the theme in all of these exercises. So, you know, you want to calculate this queen f8 because why not? And after the king moves, then the move that comes to my mind is rook to f7 because I hit the queen and I also threaten mate. And it doesn't look like there's any check that does anything. I just go king h2 and my king is safe. So looks like that is it. Okay, so they even sacrifice the queen, but that's fine. Right, so anyone joining the stream, we are just doing puzzle streak, and we're just gonna see how far we get in this half an hour. Okay, so again, it looks like this might be to do with like some discovered discovered attack, but yeah, right now the knight is defending the queen, so I guess we want to sack the rook. But then the problem is the bishop takes, revealing defense on the queen, and again this idea doesn't work, so it's not quite there yet. So it's not just winning the queen, but in fact we see that this back rank issue is also relevant. So this is actually why you shouldn't try and solve tactics just from patterns, but also just trying to understand the position. Because in a real game, you know, you'll understand the position. And, you know, if I did a proper evaluation, I would have evaluated that the king does have some back rank issues. And with that in mind, it then becomes much easier to solve this exercise. Because if we go knight check, rook takes, we take the queen, knight takes, this would be checkmate. And I guess if knight g6 check and pawn takes, I guess we have something, although I'm not seeing it just yet. So knight check and pawn takes, I don't have a solution. So guys, we got to exercise 4, and we've already got stumped. I actually don't know, like what to do after pawn takes. This looks pretty good. I mean, unless the argument is that we just take and play rook check and then just say that we pick up the knight and we've just got a better position, but I feel like that's not enough. Yeah, I don't have a clue, guys. I literally don't have a clue. I don't know what I'm missing. So, okay, let's start from the basics and go once more. So, king safety. Okay, black's got the less safe king. There are some back rank problems. White's king is looking pretty fine. Material-wise, we are down a pawn. Pawn structure-wise, both sides relatively fine. Maybe this pawn is slightly weak. And then, yeah, activity-wise, okay, this is the whole crux of the position. Our queen is being attacked. And potentially we can coordinate our pieces to attack somehow, right? So what candidates moves do we have? Okay, we need to consider moves where we move the queen, but this does lose the knight immediately. So, okay, we should definitely look at our checks. So knight g6 check is definitely on the radar. Our captures, like capturing this knight. I don't really see what else. I mean, this check is very tempting, right? Because, well, then again, the king can move as well. Like, how clear-cut is this? And if rook takes knight, my problem was bishop takes. And am I missing something here? Do we have, like, some clean follow-up? I really don't know. I actually don't know. Okay, I think we're gonna lose at exercise number 4. Do I even go for knight g6? I swear to God, if they take with the rook, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I think there are many other moves that look better. But yeah, I don't see it. So let's go for it. Okay, they took with the pawn. And apparently we've got something here. So yeah, still, rook takes is met with bishop takes defending the queen. So it looks like we've got to take him and play check. And I guess this is the point, right? Like maybe we were about to lose a piece. And this is the only line that doesn't lose a piece. So probably then, actually that's the point, right? Like we're not playing to get an advantage, we're just playing to survive. And maybe we have a slight advantage. So, okay, very interesting. Need to consider that as well, right? Like if we're in a lost position and we can find a way to equalize, this is also important. So good to have done that one. Okay, now we're back to the easy puzzles. Bishop h7 check, and we can simply mate by force. I don't think there's anything to add there. Yeah, and this one looks relatively clear at first sight. Like it looks like we can just go bishop pinning, and I think the point is that many people might just take this rook immediately. Well, you're going to have to try and grind out this endgame where actually black's king is more active, and this could be all the difference. But the nice thing is, if you've watched Gotham Chess or you are friends with someone who does watch Gotham Chess, you'll have heard of the phrase PP on the PP, and you simply put pressure on the pin piece and win that whole rook and keep the bishop. So I think, oh, he doesn't even try this. Like, okay, never mind then. We'll take that. Okay, so in this position... okay, they've sacked for something. I guess we can see, yeah, they sacked for the bishop. So we're bishop down. We could take this rook, but then we have to consider how our king might become weak. And a much more simple line that it looks like is just to take on f2. And the point is that if rook takes, queen takes, and they block with queen g2, I think we can just trade everything and take the rook. And we'll have a whole exchange up in the endgame. And that is definitely no question that black is better there. And I don't think any king retreats are going to work, they're going to get mated. So I think this is simply it. Okay, and then we take the rook and we're in exchange up. Okay, so this position looks like it's just mate in 2, if I'm not mistaken. Just check and mate. Unless there's something I'm missing, but I don't think so. Okay. So in this position, again, mate in 2. This is a really weird array of puzzles. I don't know how Lichess picks them, but okay, so far this is interesting. Okay, so this one, we have one pawn down. I guess white just took this pawn. But yeah, it definitely looks very, very loose, right? So, I mean, immediately you're wanting to look at, okay, can we get away with this? I mean, okay, this king is a bit weak. We do need to be a bit careful. So, for instance, after rook c8, okay, if the bishop moves anywhere, we just simply pick up this bishop. If we play rook c8 and they defend, what is our continuation? Maybe we can even try and remove a defender like this. I think that should be enough. But these are the kind of tricky positions where it's very easy to miss one resource and you don't have it. So, I mean, for sure, rook c8 has to be tried. And the question is, I think knight e6 is forced. And then the question is how to progress. I feel like bishop f7 should be correct. But what's wrong with bishop f5, for instance? Is this not the same? Maybe it will just say that like any move is fine and the position will already stop at this moment. Let's try it. Yeah, exactly. So they even just move the bishop, which is just idiotic, right? So we can just take. So I'm curious then, at this moment, yeah, if they play knight e6, which, okay, sure, engine-wise it's slightly worse, and okay, we see that both of these moves are acceptable, great. So that was what I was thinking. Okay, in this position, we are a pawn up, but our king is in grave danger. And we're in check. So we need to decide, do we want to trade or do we want to retreat? Now, definitely my instinct would be just to trade. Like, the fewer pieces in this attack, the better. I don't think this knight is, like, such a great defender, to be honest. So yeah, I think I would just take this knight. Bishop takes back and... Okay, we're not getting mated, like that's good enough for me. Unless there's some way to win a piece, right? Like maybe if we play king c4, it feels so unnecessary, but... Yeah, we're even dropping this, right? So I think we have to take, here. Okay. And now we've got like some issue with this. A part of me definitely wants to just give this check so that I can push this pawn on the next move. So that my rook isn't hanging. That would be my feeling. Yeah, I don't really want to lose this pawn. I can't push, so I guess that means I have to give the check. And yeah, now this pawn push looks really strong, right? Because I'm even winning a rook. Okay, great. Okay, next one. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is this queen, okay, it's tried to retreat, but actually it's not on a safe square, and it's even being x-rayed by my rook, right? So it definitely feels like bishop takes pawn and picking up the queen should be enough for advantage. I don't see why that wouldn't be good. Okay, so how are we doing for time? Okay, got 20 minutes left. Okay, let's try and speed up a bit. Although, apparently you can save the puzzles. I think we just leave this page open and it's probably fine. I'm not too sure. But hey, maybe we'll get one wrong by that point. So, okay. In this position, it looks like we're just taking the bishop. If they take back with the pawn, of course, we're taking the rook, right? So if we take here, and they take and we just take, I think we're just the piece up, right? So I don't think there's any reason not to do this. Yeah, and we can just simply take. I mean, they can try distract this rook by rook c1, but then we win a rook anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. Okay, so in this position, material is even. However, both kings are looking pretty weak, but critically, it's our turn to move, right? So that probably means we have a resource. And okay, we look at our most forcing moves. Queen takes, and rook g1 is mate. So I guess it's that. Okay, let's move to the next. So, okay, what's going on? So we have white has an extra pawn. both kings are looking pretty weak. This is attacked, but hey, what happens if we just take this? Is not checkmate? Looks like checkmate to me. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, so in this position, it looks like, okay, the queen is only defended by the knight. We can just take this knight, and if they try and recapture, we win the queen, and if they trade queens, we win a piece. So that looks very worth doing. Okay. So in this position, it looks like, okay, the move that jumps out to me is this, because this releases the defender of this knight. But okay, let's try and evaluate a bit closer. So we've got equal material. And yeah, like, okay, if we take here, we're threatening to win the knight. If they take back, what's okay, we can just win the knight, of course. So okay, if we take, we're also hitting the knight, so this looks very promising. Okay, great. So in this position, we have 2 pieces for a rook, but black has a number of pawns. Black has 4 extra pawns. The black king is slightly weak in the center. So, oh, and also this rook is hanging, right? So wait, let me just make sure. Okay, for a second I was worried that I might be muted or something. That would be quite funny. Wouldn't have been the first time. But yeah, looks like we can just take and then win a rook, and that should be winning. Like, okay, black has the pawns, but shouldn't be enough. Okay, so in this position, oh, it's just checkmate in 2, check and check, and I think that's mate. Okay. Right. So, okay, basically, this is a huge threat. We're a rook down as well, but we do have to move. So if we play bishop takes, okay, king can move, but let's say they take back, we can go queen check. King is forced to h8. We can play rook takes h6 and checkmate, right? So if we go bishop here, we need to consider what if king h8 as well, in which we can just go rook takes h6 and again checkmate. So I think this is just completely winning. Okay, so yeah, this is the thing. You might be a rook down, but if you've got a piece majority where the action is taking place, then okay, it doesn't necessarily matter that you're a whole rook down. Okay, so in this position, what's going on? We are a pawn down, our king is weak, but somehow we have a resource here. So it's either going to be taking and then trapping the queen, or we're going to be able to disconnect the queen from the bishop. That's my feeling. Alright, let's really think. I actually don't even see a way if we play bishop. Okay, so let's properly evaluate, right? Kings, okay, white king is much safer even though it's not castled, we have no way to it. Material, we're a pawn down, this f7 pawn. Pawn structure wise, probably we're weaker as well, just because of this loss of a pawn. But we are more developed, and this is just about hanging on to this bishop. So if there's a way we can hit the queen, aha, what about knight a5? The queen is defending the knight, we also cover these 2 squares, and hey, the square is covered too. So it looks like knight a5 and we just win the bishop, and we are of course winning then in material and position. Okay, fantastic. So, in this position, we have 2 pieces down. This white king is extremely weak though, much weaker than ours, because even though our king is exposed, there are no white pieces attacking it. So, I mean, if we win this knight, it may not be enough, right? Because we're only then one piece down, which is still lost in material. So, this rook looks so pathetic. Like, I wish this was not on b8. But okay, maybe this is all we've got. But then, white takes on b2. But then we can play rook b4, right? And then we're definitely back in the game. And to be honest, I really don't see anything else we've got. I mean, I guess this was the alternative, but then they just take, and I don't think we've got anything. So I think we have to play with this for this. Like, literally, this piece is so bad, like, I think this is all we've got, yeah. Okay, great. Next one. Okay, so in this position, material's equal. We've got a difference in pawn structure. I think the pressure on the f-file is in our favor, and the fact that we've got this protected pass pawn. We also have the move. I think Black's king's slightly weaker because they've also got this like back rank problem as well. So for instance, rook e5, after understanding this, then rook e5 jumps out, right? And the point is if the queen moves, we can just take this rook. So rook e5 just looks like a game winner to me. I don't think there's anything more that needs to be calculated. Yeah, and now of course we need to take with the pawn, we don't want to trade, and of course we're better. Yanis, welcome to the stream. I'd like to see when black put the rook on b8. And why? Right. I was gonna say, like, if I have to go back to a previous position, I don't know how it messes up the puzzles, but I know what you mean, right? Like, yeah, like, why did the rook get to b8? I have no clue. Let's keep going. Okay, so in this position, okay, like, unfortunately, there's no need to even evaluate the position because this theme jumps out at you. But this is kind of like a classic one where, you know, the d-file is wide open and the black king is exposed. And there are often these tactics on f7 where you can lure the king away and then pick up a whole queen. So I don't think there's even any need to calculate this. This is just winning a queen. Okay, in this position, we're a pawn down. We have the bishop pair. King safety wise, I think we're safer. I mean, our king's on a dark square, they've got a light squared bishop. This king, we've got some x-ray pressure. This is checkmate in one if not for the queen, so you know there's some stuff. Pawn structure, okay, they've got this passed pawn, but probably not going to be relevant, right? So we've also got the move. So now we need some candidate moves, now that we understand the position a bit better. Okay, so I was looking at maybe like trading, maybe taking on g7, and actually just looking a little bit further, I noticed, okay, if we take on g7, they can't take with the king. If they take with the queen, we've got bishop f6. And this looks pretty lethal. I mean, we'll get a pawn and a queen for rook and bishop, but okay, we still have a bishop and queen. The pawns are quite loose, the king is quite exposed. I think that should be better for white. So if we play this, I don't think there's any counterplay, so I think this is just good. Yeah. Okay, +5. Wow, I wouldn't have given the eval as so high, but what's the point? Like, if they get off the pin... Oh! We're a whole queen for a rook up, right? So that's why they should probably play something like this, right? So that they at least win the bishop. But okay, this is just completely winning. Like, too many loose pawns, weak king... Loose pieces, yeah, this is just over. Okay, so in this position, we're a piece down. However, we have some great compensation on the queen side. Now, pawn structure-wise, okay, this pawn is very, very strong. So, you know, we do need to make something work. So the question is how? And to me, we want to keep this bishop shut out. So we'd want to keep the position closed by pushing the pawn. There's no knight c2 because of our knight. And if they try and attack our knight, we can just push, right? And they're not in time to stop us getting a queen, and if we get a queen, we're happy. Okay, what if they give a check though? This is kind of important, but maybe then we can play king f8, and they take the pawn and we take the bishop, and if check and they don't take the pawn, they move the bishop somewhere, then we, the pawn is already on a3, right? So then we can push a2 and we win. So is this enough to be happy, right? King f8 and they take and we take, and the problem is they take. So actually I think we're lost in that endgame, right? They've got these two very strong pawns. So this one's a bit tricky. I think this knight c6 is a really important save. So if they come here, I don't see any other move better than this. So my calculation was really bad, right? I was suggesting they can take on a4, but the pawn's on a3. So let's be very careful. We've got pawn to a3, knight c6 check, king f8, and if they take on b4, I can take the bishop, and I think that would be fine, because this pawn is so strong. The knight actually can't move, which means the b pawn can't move. And maybe we can even play for this, right? And I think maybe we've got better chances to win this actually. So I think in any case we don't really have much alternative, so it has to be a3. And then I think this has to be the point. Yeah. And then oh yeah, we need to take the bishop first. Yeah. And this position's just better, I guess. Okay, knight d5 to try and displace this knight. But do I really understand that? I would have thought we should try and get to here in order to push this, but why is this not working? Knight e2, and suddenly I've got nothing, right? So, in this position, if king here, knight d5 is needed, and I thought here just knight a2 now would be fine. But the difference is that I guess the knight is more central, it also keeps tabs on this f4 pawn. And now the king is going to be able to advance, and apparently this is winning. I guess the point is that this king is kind of is tied to this f pawn, whereas my king is kind of more free to roam. Like this pawn is never running because of a knight. So I guess eventually I can probably bring this king in somehow, right? And probably with my king coming in, then there's a way to win. But okay, not completely simple. You can click on it and it opens in a new tab. Okay, good to know, Giannis. Okay, this one again, unfortunately, like my tactical recognition jumped out at me before I could analyze, but this just looks like it wins a queen. And that should be enough in the position. I don't think there's much more to note. Yeah, okay. So now this one. Okay, so material is a pawn down for us. However, black's got this weak back rank. Okay, we've also got a very weak king as well, but we do have the move. I'm gonna say we do have the move in literally all of these puzzles. We literally do always have the move, so it's good to note. But yeah, okay, if we take this, look promising, right? Because we can win this rook. But the question is, after king g7, is this actually enough? Like, we're a rook up, but are we actually getting wrecked for our king? But I think in that position, at the very least, we can always bring our rook back down to e2. And the queen can't really join the attack so soon. And in the meantime, we can probably start playing like king h1 and just unraveling. So I think winning the rook should be desirable, and I think it should be enough. And I think just rook e2 was my move, and that should be enough. Okay, I'm gonna put on the jumper, it's getting a bit chilly. Giannis, is this your first stream of this new YouTube chess lifestyle journey? Yeah, I'm teaching a class later, so that's why I'm dressed a little bit more respectable, I guess. But okay, let's move to the next. Okay, so we are in exchange up, but white has a number of pawns. White has 3 pawns and a bishop for the exchange, the bishop pair even, so definite compensation. However, the white king is very exposed. So is ours, so probably we need to be very quick with whatever we do, right? And this move, to try and pick up one of these pieces, looks nice, and actually, even if they block, we can pick up this bishop with check. So it looks like this is actually just very, very useful, and should be played. Ah, first one you catch live. Nice. Okay, if you... By the fact that you said live, that means I guess you've seen some offline, and that means you kind of know what this is about, right? So, yeah, every subscriber equals a second of training, and we just work our way up. But okay, let's think about this. So, we have... Okay, let's say we took the knight. We would then be a pawn up in this pawn endgame. So, typically speaking, this would be a great move. However, these pawns are very strong. And White's king is pretty well placed to meet like our dangerous pawns. So we should definitely consider, okay, what if we don't take the knight? Is a move like this just winning instantly? The answer is no, right? White can just stop it. But then we can take the knight then. But then, okay, what have we really achieved by doing this? Not too much. We have no useful checks that achieve anything, so I think we have to take the knight. And then in this position, we need to make a very precise move, because pawn endgames are all about that. And the move that would come to me intuitively is to play this, because this is a common pattern where white cannot take the backwards pawn without the other pawn rolling. So I think e4 looks good. I don't really see any other move to protect our pawn, so I feel like this has to be the move. Okay, and this is just winning, right? Like if they give a check, we can go up. And the point is we've got this extra pawn, so we should be able to use that in some way. And yeah, f5 to break this up seems to do the job. And then we don't even have to try and promote this. We can always just win all these pawns. White can never leave this post without letting the pawns run. So yeah, this is fine. Okay. So here we have equal material, except they've got a bishop, we've got a knight, they've got a very strong rook on the 7th, although it is looking a little bit vulnerable. And I think that is the theme. We're just going to play king f8 and pick up this rook. They can like counterattack our knight, but that's not going to be that significant when they're losing our whole rook. So I think king f8 is the way. Okay, they even just sacked the rook immediately, which I can't believe is best, but I guess it is. I would have thought b4 like makes more sense, but fair enough. Okay, we're in check. That's important to note. Material, we're down a pawn, so you don't necessarily want to trade everything. We also have potential for this fork. That's something I'm also spotting. But okay, we're in check. Maybe this king is a bit weak. Like there's some pressure for sure. Material, we're down a pawn. What else? Yeah, this is a pretty strong pawn, I would say, if like it gets rolling, but for the time being, it's, you know, it's not too dangerous. So of course we should see if we are able to win a piece immediately. Like if this was a fork, then this would be great, except it's not, so this wouldn't be great. So we should probably consider moving the king, since this isn't achieving anything. So king h1 or king f1. And both of them would allow a potential check from the knight, right? This would be a check, probably nothing. It's important to note our back rank is covered by this bishop. But is it? If we go king h1 and they take this bishop, we might be in big trouble. Okay, I realize there's a problem. If they take, they get mate. However, on this move, we've always got this fork, right? We do have this fork in the position. So, if king h1, is there any issue? If king f1, is there any issue? So there must be an issue with one of them. Otherwise this wouldn't be a puzzle. But what's the difference? So in both cases we're threatening this. Okay, let's say we move and they can't take because it's a pin. I actually have no idea. What's the difference. I'm not missing a candidate, right? This is literally it. Like, we are not able to sack the queen. King f1 at least threatens the knight. So I kind of like that. It's kind of a bit more forcing, right? If you play king h1, black can kind of do anything. But if we play king f1, we are threatening to take this. Like, in fairness, okay, they can take the knight afterwards, but at least it's like a little bit more pressure. And if there's no caveat behind this move, like, you know, if we can meet this with this, then I don't see why not to add an extra threat in the position. Like, maybe this is like some kind of lazy visualization because I'm not precisely seeing what I'm afraid of, but in terms of calculation, I think, you know, logically deducing that this should be a better move, I think that's fair game. So I don't think what I'm doing is necessarily wrong, but okay, I'll risk it. Okay, so indeed, we provoked this mistake, and let's see like what was the reason. So if we had gone king h1, there was a way out, right? So either this or this. Okay, these are some insane moves to find, but the point is, yeah, you don't need to find them to be able to find king f1 as the answer. So it's actually in one of my recent calculation videos when I was recommending excelling at chess Argard, there's kind of like elimination in order to find the correct move in a position. This is a very useful skill, and it's not even just for a puzzle. Like if I got this in a real game, I'd probably use the same method to deduce that, yeah, king f1 is a better try. Now, guys, I've realized the training is over, and unfortunately that means I have to call it a day. I am going to just keep this open. I hope that this will save. It might not save. Wait, what does continue the streak mean? No, that would just keep going. So I think I'll just leave it and hope that my computer saves this position. But yeah, I've got to bounce. I've got to be somewhere for 1, so I've got 6 minutes to get there. So I better get moving. So thank you guys all for sticking around. Thanks, Yanis, for